Hello, I'm talking about strategic management today. If you've ever wondered what strategic management actually means, or why should you relate to that with respect to your role in the organization, then this video is for you. I'm trying to address two kind of viewers today. One of them is the one who are trying to understand, they are clueless and they are unsure about what strategic management is, and the other kind of people, those who are trying to understand why and how strategic management should impact or relate to their role in the organization. Instead of talking about big jargons and definitions, I thought a good way of introducing the topic to you is via talking you through the various phases, or let's say the maturity levels of strategy, so that you can relate that anything that's happening could be a strategy for your organization. It could be a part of strategic management for your organization, but it really depends on what level of maturity your organization is with respect to strategy. Or it could all drill down to your department strategy. So the first phase, let's call it the financial planning phase. So this is the first level of maturity with respect to strategic management. What happens is, say your financial year starts from April of a year, so around January or December end, the business unit heads or the department heads are asked to provide a financial plan for the following financial year. So they need to collate what are the kind of spending they're anticipating for the coming year. So they start collating information from their subordinates. Sometimes department heads would be like, oh, I understand, and they would mark something in the Excel sheet basis all the information that they have with respect to what kind of spending they may anticipate, or these are the kind of technical debts that we have, or these are the kind of initiatives that we would need, these are the projects that are running and we have to continue, or I may have one or two more kind of projects with respect to this, and so I should secure this much kind of money, and they'll seek some help from one or two subordinates, or sometimes there could be a proper meeting. So it takes 1 or 2 months sometimes of the decision maker, and then those are collated, and a new financial plan is circulated, and accordingly the money is allocated. So this operational planning is termed as, this is all they have in the name of strategic plan for, or the strategic management of the organization, and this is called phase 1. The next maturity level in next financial plan would be where it's more of a forecasted plan. So instead, and this is phase 2, and we can call it the forecasted planning phase. What happens here is, it feels like 1 year plan is not enough. We want to have a longer plan, and usually it's 5 years plan, sometimes 3 years plan, where we're talking about longer programs now. And because we are talking a bit longer period, so there is some level of external trend analysis, and mostly it's ad hoc analysis into what's going on in the market, what is the current trend that's going on. To that level, some analysis of external and of course internal analysis. These are the two kind of information that's gathered, and basis that plan is proposed, which the budget would be allocated mostly for a year only, but then there is an extended plan that runs beyond 1 year. So this is, again, there would be a lot of time that goes into planning and is wasted, and the regular work of the decision makers are postponed, are paused for a while, because you are doing financial planning for the coming year. You must have listened to such statements. Now what happens in this approach, in this second phase, is that there is a lot of political tension between the department heads trying to barge for the maximum amount of money they can for their department, for their programs, from a fixed pool that is available with the organization. The third phase, or where you are in the third level of maturity with respect to the strategic management of your department, or of your business unit, or of your organization. Now what happens is, of course, there is a lot of ineffectiveness that is observed in the phase 1 or phase 2 level. Okay, and that's when you want to be more responsive to the change market, or you start thinking that let's be more strategic in our approach rather than having this ad hoc, and then you want to understand the external market more, and then derive your plan. And that's when what you think is, instead of the the from the managers, the top management takes this initiative on themselves, and what they'll do is they will appoint a planning staff, a team who will do the planning. So of course they will collaborate and coordinate, but the plan comes out of that team. And usually there are consultants who will be hired to provide technicalities and sophisticated mechanisms of strategic management. Those are adopted to create a strategy and a strategic plan. And then the top management would meet in a resort somewhere, and they would have a long term strategic plan, and then that plan is cascaded down for implementation to the lower managements, so that okay, this is what we have decided, do you understand, these are the goals, and then let's implement it, that's on you. And then they will check upon them that how much have you implemented it. Now here, this is about that the top management is taking the control, and there is a top down approach on strategy. Now finally, I want to talk about the fourth phase, which actually is strategic management, which is the one that we are targeting to in terms of strategy management. And when that's happening, that's when it's true strategy management. And that is the reason when people on the floor working, who are delivering results, they would be like, those who are into tactical work, they would be like, till this fourth phase is happening, it all looks like rubbish. It looks like oh, big people making big, they're talking, and they're like are bade log, and those things. And these are like, these are immaterial work, and this brings no meaning to the real delivery. We are the people actually delivering. What is this strategy all about? So people do not relate, and the strategy does not deliver as it should. So it's a two-way failure till we reach this fourth phase. Now what is this fourth phase? Let's name it as strategy management. Actually, what happens is, this is the stage when the top management realizes, without input and commitment. Input is part of strategy development, commitment is the strategy outcomes, right? So without the input and commitment of the whole organization, of the lower managers, it is worthless to have a strategy. Think of strategy, I'd like to use a metaphor where strategy is not like a sun. It's which is shining. It's a ball of fire shining far apart. It has some job, it's giving us some light, but it's far away doing some work on its own, and it's just there. Of course it's giving some benefits to us, but it's lying there doing its job. It's not that. Strategy is about the sun rays which are actually falling on earth, which actually contributes to the atmosphere, to the new lives, to the maintenance of life, to the death of organized organisms, so to the functioning on the planet. So it's those sun rays that we're talking about, which is about strategy. So there are a few key points that I've noted down that I want to say, that when that's happening, that's when you say that you are in the fourth phase. What happens here is that the planning group actually constitutes of the managers, key employees from various levels, from various departments, and then the top management, of course. They all sit together to formulate the strategy of the organization, right? And then the development of that strategic plan constitutes of various plans developed and then integrated together, right? And then the third point is, it focuses on now the true competitive advantages of the organization, because you see the information is flowing from various levels, from the floor, from the various angles, and we are actually talking about meat and flesh here. right? So we are not in a superficial world. We know the true realities. We are talking about true challenges. We are talking about the true weaknesses. Now from the ground, the employees talk about their experience from the external world, and that's when you are strategizing, right? The fourth point is the strategic plan is more detailed. Now you're actually talking about true implementation plans. You're talking about the control issues that you may have. You're talking about how will you evaluate the implementation of those goals that you're forming, right? Strategy is about a goal and the plan to meet them, right? So we're really talking about these terms now. You're not talking about a 5-year assumption and trying to make that plan perfect. Okay, the assumptions should be perfect. The focus is not on this. The focus is about deriving various scenarios, strategizing according to those scenarios, having contingency strategies and plans basis those scenarios that you anticipate. And the last thing that I would want to say is we are not talking about a sophisticated 5-year plan documented and kept somewhere. We are talking about the thinking of the whole organization, the decision making of the whole organization at various levels, at various angles, is now incorporated with that strategy. When this is done, we are saying that we are doing strategic management, and then there won't be people talking about, oh, this is all bullshit. It's about, they would really understand that, okay, now this is giving us a direction. When we are in a situation of taking decisions, you really, this is the strategy that is actually helping us take the right decision, what's right and what's wrong, right? Now that's strategic management. Thank you.